What describes us best? The external attributes or the internal attributes? Here is a question I want to ask you to sit with for a moment. When you meet someone for the first time, what do you actually see? You see how they are dressed, you see how they carry themselves, you take in their appearance, their status, whatever signals they are sending about who they are. And in those first few seconds, you form an impression. But here is what I want to ask you: is that impression accurate? Is what you see on the outside actually what defines a person? Or the real definition of someone, the one that matters, the one that lasts, something that takes much longer to see? What actually describes us best? The external attributes or the internal ones? That is what today is about. And I think by the end of this episode, you will have a clearer answer than you did at the beginning.
Korejotic Views, इंसानियत जो पैगाम Korejotic Views, सच जो ऊंचाइयों नाम Korejotic Views, for all of mankind Korejotic Views, leave no one behind.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Korejotic Views. I'm Mushtaque Korejo. I want to start with something personal. I wasn't exceptional in school. I was not the student teachers pointed to as an example. I was not clear about my life, about what I wanted, what I was good at, or where I was going. For a long time, I lived in that confusion. But somewhere between that confusion and a growing sense of curiosity, something shifted. I discovered my purpose in writing, not because someone told me I have a gift for it, not because the world confirmed it early, but because I kept showing to it. And eventually, it showed up for me. And here is what I know from that experience. What defined me in my school was not my grades, my appearance, or how others perceived me in those years. What defined me was what I was quietly building on the inside: the curiosity, the discipline, the willingness to keep searching for what mattered to me. External and internal. Both attributes are part of our daily life, but only one of them is truly yours to control. And only one of them is the real answer to the question I just asked. Number one, the two sides who we are. External attributes are everything that sits on the surface: your appearance, your clothes, your status, your possession. These are the first things the world notices about you. They are not meaningless, but they are signals. They tell people how you have chosen to present yourself. They don't tell people who you actually are. Internal attributes are different in every way. They are your quality of work, your hobbies, and the discipline you bring to them. Your behavior, how you treat people when nothing is at stake, when no one is watching, when there is something to gain. Your character, your values, your mindset, your beliefs, your integrity, your emotional intelligence. These things are not visible at first meeting. You cannot see someone's values in a photograph. You cannot read someone's integrity from the clothes they wear. These qualities reveal themselves slowly through actions, through consistency, through how someone shows up over time. Think about this. Two people walk into the room dressed identically, same shoes, same jacket, same watch, but one of them is kind and honest, the other is not. The difference is invisible to the eye, and yet it is the most important difference between them. It is the one that will determine every meaningful outcome in their lives: the depth of their relationships, the trust they earn, the impact they leave. People may notice your external attributes first, but they remember you and they judge you by your internal ones. Number two, attributes that build you up. There are four internal attributes that build a person up consistently, quietly, over time. The first is positive behavior. When you behave with genuine kindness, with honesty, with patience, you build connections that last. Not because people owe you anything, but because you have made it safe for them to trust you. Positive behavior is not about being agreeable or soft. It is about being someone whose presence makes people around them feel a little more steady. The second is the quality of your work. Quality builds trust. And once you have built trust, real trust, earned through consistent delivery, people begin to give you respect without being asked. Not the kind of respect that comes from status or appearance, the kind that comes from proving again and again that you do what you say will do. The third is mental and physical exertion. When you challenge yourself physically through exercise, mentally through learning and solving difficult problems, you don't just get stronger, you earn something harder to name. A clarity, a steadiness, a sense of yourself that cannot be taken away by external circumstances because it was built from the inside. The fourth is your hobbies, and this one is perhaps the most underestimated of all. Your hobbies reveal something honest about you, something your daily routine cannot. They show you where you are genuinely absorbed and where you are merely going through the motions. When you pay attention to what your hobbies are telling you about your own engagement, you begin to understand at what stage your journey you are currently stuck and how far your exceptional journey could still go. Number three, the four attributes that drain you. Just as there are internal attributes that build you up, there are attributes that drain you. And the difficult thing about them is that they are so common in our society that most of us have grown completely accustomed to them. They feel like the background noise of normal life. There are four of them. I want to name each one clearly. Number one, the complainers. These are the people who complain endlessly about their circumstances, about other people, about the system, about everything, without ever looking for a solution. Complaining as a habit is one of the most energy consuming things a person can do. It keeps the mind entirely focused on what is wrong, which makes it impossible to see what could be done differently. The complainer never improves their situation because all their energy goes into describing the problem instead of solving it. Number two, the cancelers. These are the people who receive compliment and immediately find a way to spin it, to undercut it, to dismiss it, to turn something positive into something that confirms their own negativity. You say something kind to them, and somehow it becomes evidence for why things are not going well. They are not receiving your good intentions, they are filtering it through something broken inside them and handing it back to you diminished. Number three, the casualties. These are the people who have convinced themselves that the entire world is planning against them. Every difficulty is someone else's fault. Every setback is a deliberate act. Every closed door is a conspiracy. The casualty has outsourced all responsibility for their life to external forces, which means they have outsourced all their power to change it. Number four, the critics. These are the people who will judge you for having a different opinion or for not having one, or for speaking when they think you should be quiet, or for being quiet when they think you should speak. The critic's relationship with the world is fundamentally evaluative. Everything and everyone is being measured against a standard that exists only in their own mind. These four types are exhausting to be around, and sometimes, if we are honest, we carry traces of all four within ourselves. The work of developing strong internal attributes is, in part, The work of recognizing these patterns in our own behavior and choosing differently. Number 4, the rewiring process. Here is what I want to do to everything I just described. Forget about to fix or change the people who carry those traits. That is not your work. Your work is simpler and harder. It is to stop feeding those patterns in your own life and to begin building something different in their place. The moment you begin to avoid the draining patterns in yourself and in the people around you, you will feel it. You will feel a pull, a sudden sense of being cut off, of being disconnected from something familiar. That feeling is real and it is strong. It can last for a day, and your brain, which is built to prefer the familiar, will offer you very convincing reasons to go back to what you know. Don't do that. Stay with the discomfort, because here is what that discomfort actually is. It is your mind in the process of rewiring itself, creating new patterns, building new defaults, adjusting to a new version of normal. I built a real sense of serenity, a genuine calm inside myself when I made the decisions to leave my comfort zone. Not all at once, not without resistance, but slowly through consistency, through showing up to the new patterns even when the old ones felt easier. And what I found on the other side of that process was that my internal life had been revitalized, not because the external world had changed, but because I had. Your internal feelings will be revitalized too if you stay consistent. The process takes time, but it is the only way to rejuvenate yourself from the inside out. Number 5, the mind and imagination. There is one more internal attribute I want to talk about, and it is one of the most powerful ones we have, for better or for worse. The way the mind cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. Think about this for a moment. Sometimes we feel completely happy just by imagining something good, a future outcome, a conversation we are looking forward to, a version of ourselves we are working toward. The happiness is real, even though the thing has not happened yet. The mind produces the feeling in response to the image. And the reverse is also true. Sometimes we feel real fear, physical fear, the kind that sits in chest and tightens the breath, just from thinking about something dangerous, not because the dangerous is present, because the mind is treating the thought as if it were. This is not a weakness, it is simply how the mind works. And once you understand it, you can start to use it intentionally rather than being used by it. I want to share something personal here because I think it illustrates this more honestly than any explanation could. At the end of 2022, I was living through what I can only describe as a very dark period. I developed a sinus infection, and the infection produced enough mucus that it was affecting my breathing. I would feel the short of breath at unexpected moments. Now, the physical cause was simple and treatable, but my mind did not treat it simply. Instead, it did what our minds often do when we are already under pressure. It begins to associate the shortness of breath with something much more frightening, with heart disease, with something serious and permanent. I kept that fear entirely to myself. I never told my wife. And because I never said it out loud, because kept it sealed inside, I had no way to be questioned or checked against reality. It was just me and the fear, alone together every day. And day by day, my anxiety escalated. I spent almost 1.5 years living inside that fear. Not a few weeks, 1.5 years. And the entire time, the problem was not physical. It was imagined, built, and maintained entirely by a mind that had no way to distinguish between what was actually happening and what it feared might be happening. Eventually, I went to a doctor. She examined me thoroughly, and her conclusion was clear. Other than a high level of anxiety, there was nothing wrong with me. She prescribed medication. I took it, and then almost immediately I stopped thinking about it. Not because the fear had been proven wrong, but because the imagination finally had a fact to hold on to, a real piece of information, and the moment that arrived, the fear lost its grip. And the lesson I want you to take is this: the imagination is one of your most powerful internal attributes. When you direct it toward good things, toward what you are building, toward who you are becoming, toward the best possible version of your outcome, it produces real feelings of possibility, real momentum, real forward motion. Thinking and imagining a good result is itself an attribute. And if you are in the middle of something right now that feels like failure, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not failing, you have just found ways that did not work. That is not defeat, that is research. This is the process narrowing itself down to what will. So, what describes us? The external attributes or the internal attributes? I think you already know the answer. The external attributes get noticed first, but the internal ones, the quality of your work, the honesty of your behavior, the strength of your character, the discipline of your habits, and the direction of your imagination. Those are what define you. Those are what people remember. Those are what outlast everything else. Build them deliberately, protect them carefully, and don't let the noise of the external world convince you that the surface is the substance. Thank you so much for watching. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to Korejotic Views and hit the bell icon so you will never miss what is next. I'm always in your corner, wishing you happy, healthy, and purposeful life. I'm Mushtaque Korejo. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.